Hi everyone. In the 20th century, there lived an alien named Mikhail Tal. So amazing he was that he essentially gave him an honorary Grandmaster title without him achieving the requirements necessary for attaining the title. And a few years after that, he went on to become the world champion. He was an amazing soul, but on the board he was definitely ruthless. And today we will have two examples of him showing off his ruthlessness against his very coach. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Mikhail Tal in the white pieces and opened game with his trademark move pawn to e4. His opponent, his trainer essentially, Alexander Koblenz, played the move pawn to c5. The Sicilian defense is the most combative response and the most double-edged opening in chess. And of course you have to have the guts to play this against the legend of the game itself. And against the Sicilian, Tal always favored the open Sicilian. The D and C pawns are traded, hence the name open. Now f6, knight c3, and now here there are dozens of moves. There's a6, which is known as the United Sicilian, knight c6, the classical Sicilian, e6, the Scheveningen Sicilian, and also g6, which is a dragon Sicilian. Black opts for g6. So we're trying to put the bishop here, which puts a lot of pressure over here, and we're normally focused on the queen side. We're trying to play ideas like queen a5, like putting a rook on c8 after developing the queen side, and also playing like a6, b5, trying to play it on that side of the board. So, bishop to e3 by Tal, bishop g7, and in such Sicilian positions, Tal always favored queen d2 and long castle setups. However, there's some sort of a mini issue with this approach here, because knight g4 is going to come in and we're going to have some problems. Because this bishop is definitely better than this knight, we don't want to give it away. So, a preparatory move by Tal, f3, simply stopping this knight g4 idea forever. Knight c6 now, knight c6, queen d2, bishop d7, and long castles. So, yeah, simply just continuing our development. Next, we're trying to go with g4, h4, now g5 or h5, trying to throw our pawns on the king side. Now the queen goes to a5. Simply bringing the queen out, sort of a few pieces of the puzzle are remaining on the queen side. Now to move king b1, a very nice preparatory move, defending this pawn. This knight is now free for other duties, and that will definitely be important in the later contexts of the game. The rook goes to c8, and now you see sort of that it's actually a deliberate attempt from black to not castle their king, which is known as pretty conventional wisdom. So what they're thinking is that, okay, if I put my king in the center, they cannot really be able to open it up because the center is closed, right? But that's not correct. Firstly, we play g4. We're simply just improving our position, gaining some space, and having some ideas. Now, this is definitely the nail in the coffin to move h6. So this seems like a very minor move that cannot really be a big mistake, but you have to always be very careful because this creates what's known as a hook. And if I now ever successfully get the move g5 in, you'll have a lot of troubles because the h file is going to open up and all hell would break loose on the king side. That's not what you want. You want to control. So again, a very good rule of thumb, avoid such moves, because this move h6, it does not stop and prevent pawn to g5, it just delays it, and when it will arrive. After all, it will have even more destruction than before. So h4, we just have to double down. Now black plays a6, finally getting this pawn rolling. Now we play bishop e2, so amazing. Why is Tal playing this move? Shouldn't he just play g5? Well, if he plays g5, there's some problems with this move because the h file is just essentially, not open. The rook is not defended, and when it gets open, you're gonna have some problems. So bishop e2 just simply connects the rooks, and now we're ready for g5. Now the knight goes to e5, so this is a very thematic idea in the Dragon Sicilian. The idea is to get the knight to c4 and to trade it essentially for the rook. And this idea also happens in many cases in the Knight of Sicilian. But yeah, you're just simply one move too late. I'll play g5, and a single move in the Sicilian is normally all it takes for you to lose, especially against someone like Tal. So here we go. Pawn takes, and after rook takes, you say, the rooks are traded, and then that goes to h5. Why did Tal even choose this? Because now the h file is blocked. You cannot really attack anywhere there, and if anything, it seems like black is actually getting their own attack first, b5, knight c4, ideas like this. Well, you're sort of right, because Tal, after the move rook takes h1, decided to sacrifice the rook, essentially, by taking this knight and not taking back. And an amazing move, right? You're simply letting them take and give a check. That should definitely be a good move. We take a piece and we keep our extra material with check. Well, Tal had something very vicious prepared for him. Knight takes on d1. We normally say do not move your pieces backwards, but in this case, this is the only move. Because now there's tension between the queens. The queen is hanging, so you gotta do something with the tension, definitely. Queen takes d2. And now Tal played bishop takes d2 and wanted to lose the game in a very long turn of events. Just kidding, this was not the case, because after the move queen takes d2, Tal played the only move which he foresaw like 5 or 6 moves ago. Pawn takes on g7, leaving this queen eyeing every single one of the pieces. However, you just cannot do anything. You cannot take any of them because all of them are defended, and I am the one coming with the main threat. Essentially, if you try to play something like king d8, saving this, I'll be just queens. Then I'll take your rook with check, and then I'm going to take this queen. Now I'm just going to be up by 2 minor pieces, and this is definitely win. If you thought the last game was impressive, wait until you see this one. So in this game, Mikhail Tal also had the white pieces, and his opponent goes with the name NN, meaning no name. And his opponent was essentially unknown. But what we can know from him, from them technically, is that they definitely had a lot of courage to play like this against Mikhail Tal, the legend of the game himself. So e4 again, of course, and a Sicilian again. So, if you're someone who's just playing the legend, you want to probably just defend him in a Sicilian. But they decided to do so. The open Sicilian, and now in the last game we had to move pawn to g6, but in this game we have to move pawn to a6. This is known as the Nader Sicilian. Taking away the b5 square from all of these guys who are enviously now looking at it, saying, oh no, I can't go there anymore. And against this move, Tal's favorite weapon of choice was the move bishop to g5, the most complicated line of them all. And this is perhaps like this move. This is like the move which perhaps I could say gives the Sicilian and the Najdorf its very complicated nature, because there's so many lines. There's been calculations made until like 20 moves or so, with still not much results and no objective results yet. In some lines. So e6, defending the knight with the queen, and now f4, just gaining space, edging for this move pawn to e5, and now b5. So you see what his black is doing is really dangerous. This is known as the Polygaevsky variation, the move pawn to b5, and the reason it is risky is that you're not developing any pieces. This is a try not at home category type of opening. Just do not try this at home, really. Develop your pieces, play sound chess. This is very, very difficult to play against. This is fine, and let me tell you a fun story. Essentially the popularizer of this opening, which is essentially Lev Polygaevsky, an amazing player in the 20th century, a main candidate for the World Championship title, essentially said that he had to study this line for half an hour every single day for half a year before he first dared to play it in an over-the-board game. But now here you see this no-name person playing it against Mikhail Tal like it's nothing. Well, the reason is that there's so many problems. e5 was played by Tal, takes takes, and the only reason why you're not losing material is this very nice move, queen to c7. If you try to play pawn takes, I will just simply play the move queen to e5 check, and I will pick up your bishop and regain material. Instead, queen to e2 was played by Tal. Now the knight is genuinely hanging, so the knight just drops back. And now we play long castles. You see, white and Tal has essentially brought 5 pieces to the game, but black has got only 2. This is very dangerous. It's move 11 already. You gotta do something about your king safety and your piece development. But they didn't do it, that's why it's a not straight home category of openings. The bishop goes to b7, and it seems like, okay, black is sort of returning to the game, knight c6 maybe, I don't know, like bishop c5, they're sort of going to get the king castle, and they're going to enjoy a very good game. However, Tal, unlike me, smelled something wrong, horribly wrong in this position, is he sacrificed the knight. Knight takes c6, wrecking open the position. Pawn takes, and now queen g4, and this very, very soft pawn. The correct move objectively was to play queen takes c5, a very cold-blooded move. After move bishop d3, essentially unclog white's artillery and stand in the way. But stand cool, calm, and collected. Poligavsky himself has got many games in this position, and they normally just peter out to a draw because they just know all the lines now. So after queen g4, his opponent doesn't know much theory, of course, after this point, plays queen to b6, which essentially just loses the game on the spot. It seems like it's defending the pawn on e6, but it actually isn't, because of rook d6, amazing move. Essentially just deflecting the pieces, deflecting the queen, and getting in the way. Bishop takes, queen takes on e6 check, king f8. And you say, I gotta get this piece out, then this piece out. It's gonna take some time, you're gonna get back right. What's gonna happen? Oh no. Calm down, bozo. Bishop to c4. You don't need any prep. You're just gonna go straight for the kill. And in this case, of course, it works because you just have to take it. On the surface, it looks like a 500 elo move. You just know you gotta develop pieces, but you forget that this pawn can simply take diagonally. But of course, in this case, it's an amazing move because after pawn takes, I have freed up the f1 square, and I'll play rook f1, check. And here black plays move knight to f6. Says, okay, they're gonna take with the pawn, I gotta lock in for a few moves. Of course, this move actually loses to bishop f4 check, but they were up for a big shock because Tal knew that it was down by 9 points of material, and he knew the icing on the cake. He had to sacrifice his other rook. Rook takes f6. And after pawn takes f6, there were no more sacrifices, just a simple case of death. Bishop to h6. Mates. Thanks for watching this far. I hope you enjoyed this video and perhaps learned something from it. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.